our boot camp, and today we are going to complete our handwritten equation solver project, and then we will do another project which is spam SMS detector, through which Ragini will guide you. So let's dive into our project that we are building from yesterday. Okay, so yesterday what we did, firstly we prepared our data so for the model, in which we load thousands of images of 0 to 9 as digits and three operations, plus, minus, and multiply. We uploaded our data, and today what we are going to do is fit our model on the data and then test it on various images. Till yesterday, we have compiled our model. Till here we have did yesterday. Now it's time to fit the model, as it took time, so I have already fitted the model on our data set, and it gives accuracy about 98.7% on our test data set. Now it's time for testing. Let's prepare the test function, how we are going to test our data set. For that, first we have to load the image for which we have to solve the equation. So we will use imread method from CV2 library, and then specify the path of the image. I have already copied the path. And then we will convert our image into a grayscale image, as we are going to find the contours which are better when we use grayscale image. Okay, so this step is done. Now we should see the image what we have uploaded, right? So we should use the imshow method, which is used to display the image, and we'll get some random name to it, and our image will be shown to us. The second step is to wait. Okay, so what does this wait key means? We usually give wait key is 0. That means we will wait infinitely until we press any key. Till then the image will be visible to us. Or we can provide any number of milliseconds. If I provide wait key as 12, then it will be the number of milliseconds that the image will be shown to us till 12 milliseconds. So but here we want our image to be displayed until we press any key. So here we have given wait key as 0, and then we will destroy all the windows that we have already opened. Till here we have just opened our image we are going to use to test our data. Now let's test. We will run a condition until our image is not none. The first step, as we did earlier, we will invert the colors of the image. Then we will use the threshold function. I have told about this yesterday, that it converts the pixel up to which the threshold value is given, and the else pixels will be white. These I have already guided you yesterday how to use these functions. The same process we are going to do here. Okay. Now the next step what we did yesterday, finding the contours. So we will find the contours. Everything same like tomorrow. Yesterday, sorry. Provide the thresh image that we got from the threshold function. Use the return external command we use tomorrow. Okay. So till here we are done. Next step is to sort the rectangles that we got from the contours. Same steps that we did tomorrow. So we will use sorted and sort all the rectangles that we got. Done. Now what the next step we did yesterday is we have to create a rectangle with the maximum area that will bound all the contours. So for that we have taken width and height. and created an array of training data. Okay, so now we will create an array of rectangles which will store all the rectangles that we got from the contours. For that, we will traverse in all the contours that we have. And we will get, I have told you yesterday that it will return four things: x, y, w, and h. X, y are the top leftmost coordinates of the rectangle, and w and h are the width and the height. And we will use the bounding rectangle function here and provide c as an argument. And the rectangle will be, its coordinates will be x, y, w, and h. Okay, so we will append these rectangle coordinates into the array that we made of rectangle, that is rects. Okay, so now till here I will show you how these look when we run this cell. We have got all the rectangles. Now let's understand a thing. Okay, so I will, for example, our data set is 7 multiply 14. We have to solve, for example, this image. So what this image, what our function will do, sometimes it happens, for example, I have the contour for this like this. For 7 it will be this, for multiply it will be this, and for 4 it will be this. But sometimes it happens that our model detects one contour as this. So we have to remove the extra contours that we have. We need only 7 multiply 1 and 4. But sometimes extra contours occur. So we have to remove these extra contours and dump them. So for that we will create functions. So here we will create a bool rectangle array which will store whether the rectangle we are going to use is valid or not. We have to store that rectangle or not. We will create a bool rectangle array. We will traverse in all the rectangles that we have. Okay, so what we are going to do is we will compare every rectangle with all the other rectangles that are present in the contours. For example, first rectangle, there are 4 rectangles, and first rectangle will be compared to all, then second, and then third, and then fourth. So this way what we are going to do is we will find the difference between the area of them. By this, what we are going to find is we will find that if there is minimum difference between two contours area, then this means the contours are for a particular digit or operand, and we have to discard that and take the contour which is maximum so that it can fit all the contours previously. So we will create a flag which will be 1 when the rectangle is invalid, and if the rectangle is valid then it will be 0. I will make you understand what I am writing after this. Okay, so what is this means is we have compared our rectangle coordinates of first rectangle with all the others, and see here we have converted 0 and second index. That means we have converted first the width, that is the x coordinate and the width. If the rectangle width is smaller, then we will discard the rectangle, and if it is greater, then we will keep it. And for this condition to be true, all the conditions should be true, as there is an and between all of the conditions. So we will, if this condition happens, then the triangle is invalid, and we will make our flag as 1. And we will append this into our array which we have created. L array, and we will append here the flag value. Done. Now, if this is the condition we have handled, if the rectangle, first rectangle is not equal to the an else rectangle. But see here, we have run two loops for r in rex and for rec in rex. It means there will be a case when r is equal to rex. That means we have the same array, same rectangle. For that, we have to consider it obviously because this is the same rectangle and we can't discard that. So we will use the condition if both the rectangles are same, then it is valid. Okay, so done. Now we will append all these into bool rectangle array we have created. Okay, done. And I will show you how this looks when we run this. Till we have done. Okay, we have find out which array which rectangle we don't want to use. Now it's time to dump that rectangle which we don't want to use. So we will create the array of dump rectangles. For that, we will similarly use a loop till the number of contours we have. If our bool rectangle is equal to 1, that is our flag is equal to 1, that means we have the invalid triangle and we have to find the rectangle with the maximum area of both of them. So area 1b here it's like width, will give us the width, and this will give us the height, that is width into height, area of rectangle, and similarly we will find area of second. Similarly width, and then height. J. So we have found both the areas. Now we have to take the rectangle with maximum area of them. So we will take the rectangle with the minimum area and insert it into the dump array as we are going to dump that rectangle. Dump rectangle dot append inx. So now our the rectangles which we are going to dump are ready with us. So I will show you how they will look by printing them. This will be dump rectangles. Okay. Now what we have, the final step is to find the maximum rectangle. For that we have to take a final rectangle array in which all the rectangles are present excluding the dump rectangles. The final rectangles will be all the rectangles, but we will discard those which are in the dump rectangle array. And here now we will print final rectangles. Okay. So we will find the height, the x, y, w and h coordinate, and just crop the rectangle into through those coordinates to find the maximum rectangle, and this will be done. Will be 0th at 0th index, y, w and h. Now we have to crop the image. use the thresh image that we got from the threshold function. We did this procedure yesterday also. Same with the x coordinate. Done. Cropped image. Now same, we will resize the image. We'll use the cropped image here. And we will specify the dimensions. Okay. So till here we are done. Now we will show the image. It will show all the contours to you that we have cropped to rectangles. And we will show the resized image that we resize. Same wait key until we press spacebar or any other key, it will be shown to us, and then we will destroy all the windows. And we will append these into our training data array which we have created. Size. Okay, so we are done with the test function. Wait a minute, why it is not responding? Wait a minute. Okay, so there is an error. In which line it is showing error? Wait key 0. There might be small error in this. Okay, so I have found the error. It should be this. Okay, so yeah, there it is capital Y. That's why it is showing error to us. Run it now, CV2. Okay, so we have to import, run everything again. It will take just a minute. Okay, it is training and this will run till then we will write our evaluate function. Okay, so now we will do the evaluation function. For that, what we are going to do, we will maintain a string which will use append all the expression that we are getting to find through the contours. For example, this is our image, and what we got as a result in a string will be s multiply 1 4, and this will be string, and we will pass into a evaluate function which will evaluate the result for us. So till then, it will take time to run. Till then, we will write that function. S will be an empty string initially. Then we will in the length of training data we will do, and for every training data we will convert into NP array as the while fitting the model we have used the NumPy array. Similarly, we have to do it here also. Training data at ith will be reshape as we have to pass into the predict function. Here last one is the number of channels. We are using our one. Okay, so we will use inbuilt function that is predict classes, which will predict the class of the contour we have, that is whether it is 1, 2, 3, or we have taken 10, 11, and 12, or minus, plus, and multiply. So it will predict the classes to us. Okay, so now we have the result. Now we have to compare the result. If our result that we got is equal to 10, for 10 we have used minus, then in our string it will append minus. Similarly, we have to do for everyone. If it is 11, then it will be plus. If it's 12, then it will be multiply, and 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the numerical digits that we have. Okay, so if the result 0 is will be 11, and we have to add it. Okay, if the result 0 will be 12, then it will append multiply. If our result is 1, then it will add 1. And if our result will be 2, then it will append 2. And similarly till 9 we have to do this step. It will be 3, then it will append 3. If it will be 4, then it will append 4. If it will be 5, it will be 6. And 6 here. 7. 2 more. 8. Then we will append 8. And similarly the last one, if the result will be 9, then we will append 9. At last, we will just enter a string that we got. Okay, okay, it's in last epoch. It will run. Okay, so it's you can see the accuracy we got is 98.72%. And here it is a small error. It's K capital. And similarly here also K is capital. Okay. So now our model is trained with 98.72 accuracy. That is very nice. It's running. Okay. So here we have the image 17 cross 9. Thresh is not defined. Where the thresh is? There might be spelling error. Okay, there is a spelling error here. Okay, I have used threshold here, which is thresh. That's why it is giving us error. Okay. One more error. Errors and errors. Errors are the part of programmer's life. Okay, so see, I'm so intelligent. I use 0 instead of O. Can you imagine this mistake? Another error. I'm so much done with all these errors. Okay, so in which line it is? 26th line. Okay, it is res and I use rec. Very nice. Can't our compiler be so smart that it automatically fix the errors? for us, and we don't have to do this. Okay, one more error. Nice. Okay, it's final rectangles, and I use final rectangle. Very nice. I hope it will work now. No, I'm so much done with them. Similarly here. Finally, it is running. Okay, so as you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 contours we get, but we should get only 4. As you can see, we will get only, this is not the image. The image is 7. Wait, let me show the image to you again. Let's run this cell again. The image is 17 cross 9. So there should be 4 contours, for 1 for 1, second for 7, third for multiply, and fourth for 9. So there should be 4, but there are 5. That is, one contour is dummy to us, and you can see there is a very less difference between these two. This is 726 and 733, means there should be only one contour with maximum, and we have taken, see, from both of them we have taken this and dumped this contour. So we have the final contour with us, and if we run our function, that is 7 cross 5, and it will give us the correct result. Yeah, and we will just evaluate our result. Then it's 30, whatever. Wait a minute. What is the image we have? There might be mistake I have done. It is finding 4 contours. Okay, so we'll test for another image. Maybe this will work. Okay. Okay, so it is giving us an error. I don't know why it is giving us an error. It is working fine previously. Okay, the image is not defined. I have not stored this image. Wait a minute. Okay, I got the error. It's a JPEG image. Instead, I am using JPG image. So it is predicting us the correct answer. That is 42 plus 4 is 46. So this model is working fine. If you train, I have trained for 10 epochs only, and the number of images that I trained are 1485. And the total number of images are 47504. So if you train on all the images, then you will get more accuracy and your model will predict nicely. And this way you can evaluate any, and if you want to go further into this model, you can use OpenCV to detect image live. For example, I am storing the image on my laptop first, but you can use a direct place your notebook in front of the camera and then just predict the result of the equation, and you can complicate this equation as much as you can. As I don't have the data set for divide function, you can take the data set for divide and then do this. So I hope it will be clear to you all. Now over to Ragini for the next project. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Ragini Bhayana at DSC USICD Project and Operations Lead. Today we will be creating an ML spam classification model. And we'll do this using natural language processing. So I'll share my screen and I'll explain you how we're making the model, and then I'll explain the code. Is my screen visible? Can the participants please type in the chat whether my screen is visible? Okay, thank you, Ankit. So, for spam classification model, we'll be using natural language processing, and we'll use stop keywords, stemming, count vector, bag of words. we'll implement bag of words using Count Vectorizer. A spam classification model, it is an entire machine learning problem statement. We have taken our data from UCI machine learning repository. The link is provided in the Drive link provided to you. You can download the data. When you download the data, you'll find two files. One is the dataset file, and other is the README file. The README file will tell you what the data is all about. So I'll just show that to you. So in the README file, you'll understand that we have classified our messages into spam and ham. Ham is the word which we're using to represent that it's not spam. After you have downloaded the data, while you're going to train a machine learning model, you have to go through a series of steps. So initially you have data cleaning and pre-processing, and then we'll create bag of words using Count Vectorizer, which is our X model. Then we'll test, we'll split the model. So we'll have a test, train, split. And we are using multinomial Naive Bayes for training our model. I'll explain all this to you. We have to make our predictions, our confusion matrix, and then our accuracy. I'll explain all this to you. So for our data cleaning and pre-processing, natural language, we have regular expression, stop words, and stemming. So regular expression will remove words, characters like full stop, exclamation mark, question marks, the words which were insignificant in determining whether it is a spam or ham. Stop words is a list of words, stop words English. It will provide you a list of words like an, the, I, am, which are also insignificant in determining whether it's spam or ham. Stemming is, okay, so stemming, we use stemming by importing Porter stemmer. So basically stemming will give you the origin word. So for example, intelligent would be converted into intelligently, and so on and so forth. Our model is bag of words, Count Vectorizer. I will explain this entire thing to you in next page in a very short, so there is a sentence, I love my iPhone and I hate my iPhone. We have two sentences. We input this text into bag of words and we'll have all our words as columns and our sentences. So for every sentence, I, iPhone, love, my, it is showing 1 because it's present in the sentence, and 0 for zoo and a because it isn't present in sentence 1. Similarly, for I hate my iPhone, hate, iPhone, love is love, there is a 0 because it isn't in the sentence. For hate, it's 1, and for my, it's 1. So this is what bag of words is doing. It is giving you a matrix for the words which are present in that particular sentence. Then test, train, split, you must know about this if you're following up throughout the week. Multinomial Naive Bayes. We are using multinomial Naive Bayes of sklearn for training our model. It is a very simple concept. You must have learned this in your high school. It basically provides you the likelihood of something happening. If something has already happened, it will tell you the probability. It's a very simple concept. We have provided links for it in the Drive if you want to learn about it further. Then we'll predict. We'll after splitting our data set, we'll make our predictions for the test data set, and we'll see how accurate our model is. And before that, we'll also make a confusion matrix. I'll show you all this in the code. So we should know what we're doing in the code, which is why I'm explaining all this to you. Afterwards, so bag of words, this is the train, this is how we, this is our model. We're making bag of words using Count Vectorizer. So in data pre-processing, we took our sentence, we removed insignificant characters, we lowered all the capital words, and And then we use stop words, so unnecessary words like I, am, the, they removed, and then we got our modified sentence. So in our model, what our X matrix would be, I'll give you example using 3 sentences. I am learning bag of words, learning bag of words is fun, and I am fun. So I and am got removed, is got removed, and I and am in the third sentence got removed. So you can see bag of words, it is capital here, but in the modified sentence, it is in lowercase. So our original sentence, we will lower the O, I will be first lowered, then stop words will remove I, and then I am learning bag of words will be converted into learning bag of words, and so on and so forth for every sentence. So for every word in our modified sentence, we have to create our matrix. So that what count vectorizer will do is, it will take your word, all the words which are present in these sentences, and we'll see the frequency. So learning is coming twice, bag of words is coming twice, and fun is also coming twice. So these words are our independent features, and the output, ham or spam, would be our independent feature, would be our dependent feature. I'm sorry. The output, ham or spam, would be our dependent feature. So in sentence 1, learning, bag of words, both these words are present. So we have 1 for these two, but fun is not present in the first sentence. Therefore, in the matrix, there will be a 0 for it. For sentence 2, learning bag of words is fun, modified into learning bag of word fun. We have learning, bag of words, and fun. We have 3 words. So it should be 1, 1, and 1. I'm sorry, it should be 1, 1, and 1, which is here. So in sentence 2, learning is 1, bag of words is 1, and fun is also 1. In the third sentence, we only have 1 word, which is fun. So for fun, we have 1, and for learning and bag of words, it is 0. We have to do all these things before we train our model. So now I'll take you to the code. So you need to understand this before coding, so you know what is happening in your code. I hope I'm clear to all of you. If you guys want me to, do you guys want me to explain this to you further? Or is this clear? You can type it in the chat. I'll be happy to explain it to you. So if anyone wants me to explain this further, if you guys have explained this, got the concept, I'll move on to the code. Okay, thank you, Harshit. So now we'll move on to the code. So we have taken our data, and I have provided the link of it to you. I'll just clear all this. Yes. So we are initially we will use regular expression. We'll use stop word, order stemmer, and we'll implement our model using knife bias. So we'll import pandas as PD, and we'll store our file in messages. So I will just run this. Okay, before that, I'll show you the file. Okay, so here we can see we have ham, which that means it is not spam, and the message. So we can see if we create a Notepad++ document, we'll see that ham before these two, they are divided using a tab. It is tab separated, which is our delimiter. So to divide this into columns, we'll be using separator as tab. Also, we can see there are capital words like the G of go is capital, and insignificant characters like comma, full stop. There was a question mark. exclamation marks. So all those won't be significant in determining whether it's ham or spam. So, okay, it's not. We'll just wait for Spider to, because it's a very heavy document, we'll just wait for this to load. Okay. Okay, till then I'll guide you through our spam detection resources. We have provided the link to our data set. Word embedding is, so I'll explain it to you at the end of our session. It is a better method for calculating, for making this spam classification model. And more information about the knife bias classifier. Knife bias is a very simple concept. We all have learned about it in our high school. Let's just check whether this is responding. Okay. I had written the code in Google Colab as well, so I'll explain it to you from here. I prefer Spider because it explains you the variables. You can see it better over there. But till that is loading, I'll explain it to you over here. So, okay, so to upload our file in Google Collaborator, there's a very simple code from google.collab import files uploaded is equal to files.upload, and for fn in uploaded keys, this will come, and once we run it, we'll get a signal to upload our file. Okay, this worked. Never mind. I have already uploaded my dataset in the Google Collaborator. So I will not show that to you right now, but if you want to, you can just download it. You can put this code over there. I will provide the link of this code as well as the Spider code in our GitHub repository, the DSE GitHub repository. The link for it will be provided. Okay. So we're using pandas, and we're using read underscore CSV to import. So our data is stored in SMS spam collection, and it is separated by tab. I explained this to you while showing you how to make the columns. So the spam, the classification, and the message, there is a tab in between them. And since there are no predefined columns in the data, we are writing. Yes, since there are no so we are labeling them as label and message. Label is for spam and ham, and the message column is for this. So this is created. I'll show you in the variable explorer. Yes. So we have our label column and our message column. So in here we can see we have ham and spam, and the message which we are for which we'll create a model and then we'll make our predictions. Okay. Yes, so I explained to you initially we'll have to do data cleaning and pre-processing. We'll use regular expression, and from NLTK we'll import stop words and Porter stem. Yes. Now we have created an empty list corpus. Once we have done the data cleaning and pre-processing, it will get stored into corpus. So now what this code is doing is, we are running a for loop from I in range 0 to length of messages. So in the messages data frame, for every message, we have I. So I will be iterating through the message. So when I is 1, we'll be at this message. Or when I is 2, we'll be at this corresponding to the second message. Yes. And then, okay, so what regular expression here it is doing is, it is from messages of message. So in the messages data frame, for the message column, the ith, we are running through, iterating through the column, and if we come across full stop, comma, exclamation marks, regular expression will remove that and place a blank space instead. So here, the full stops will be removed, the exclamation marks will be removed, and so on and so forth. A question mark will be removed. Yes. And then we are lowering all this, the words, and then we are splitting the words and storing them back into review. So we have to split the words because for every word we want to apply stemming. What stemming will do is it will tell you the origin of the word. I gave an example before that intelligently will be converted into intelligent. So here we have another for loop for word in review. So for every word in that particular message, if the word is not in stop words English, so if it is not a insignificant word, we will stem that word and store it back into review. And then we'll join it and then we'll append it into corpus. So I'll just run it and show it to you. So we are running this. And this takes like 5 to 10 seconds because our data set we have 5572 sentences. So we will have a corpus list in which our modified sentence will be stored. See, this is why we try to strive for the most time efficient algorithms, because having so much of data set, it takes our computers also for a lot of time to process them, which is why even the time of 0.01 second is very significant in training our models. Yes, so it's the corpus is formed now. So if I compare our corpus and messages to you, here we can see that the capital G of Go is converted into small g. Until was removed because it was in stopwords English. Crazy, CRAZY got converted into CRAZI. Available turned into avail. And full stop, these words got, the insignificant characters got removed. So now we have done our data preprocessing. And now we'll create our bag of words model. For this, we will import count vectorizer from sklearn.features extraction. Now here, if I remove max features is equal to 2500 for a second and then run this for you. What max features equal to 2500 is doing is it's showing you the maximum occurring words. The words are our features. So if we don't remove, if we don't set it to 2500, it will be for all the words in the document. We're just waiting for this to form. Once we imported our count vectorizer, we stored it into CV and then we used fit transform for the matrix to form. All that will be stored into X, which would be our training model. Okay, till that the X gets created, I'll explain Y to you. So for Y, we the computer, it doesn't understand strings like spam or ham. So we will have to assign numbers to them. So for spam, we'll use 1 and for ham, we'll use 0. So for this, we use get dummies. So we will use get dummies for the messages data frame on the label column. And we don't need, so we'll get two columns, one for ham and another for spam, but we don't need both of them for our testing and training. So Karan Malik already explained this to you, why this is the case. So if there is one at one place, it already tells you that it is 0 for the another vector. We don't have to use two vectors. We can use one less than the total amount required. Yes, so we got our X and we got our Y. We look at X first. So in X, we can see for each words, they became our features, and the sentences we have here. So we can see that there are a lot of zeros and very few one. That is because for this vector is showing whether this the feature which one, the word which it is representing is present in that sentence or not. You'll see lots of zeros. I'll show you one. Okay. So it is a very big data set. Yes, we saw one. Yes, here. So in the 10th sentence, we have the word corresponding to the 233rd feature. And then we have our Y numpy array. which is showing that in the second, the second row, we have spam, but in the first and second rows, this message corresponds to ham. Then we're testing and training we're doing the splits. For this, we're importing test train split from sklearn.model selection. And we are splitting our data set into 20 to 80 ratio. So 20% of our data set will go into testing, and the remaining 80% will be used to train our data set. I'll just run this, and then we'll have our testing and data training set ready. Yes. Okay, and for creating our model, we're using multinomial NB, multinomial naive Bayes from sklearn.naive Bayes. So our model is created now, and we'll make our Y predictions for the X test, and we'll compare our Y prediction to the Y test. So we can see this is very similar. The Y prediction is very similar to our Y test, which means we have created a good model. We can, if you want, you can go through it. Okay. So we have made the model and we have made our predictions. And to check our model, we are making a confusion matrix. So for that, we're importing confusion matrix from tell you the real values, and this will tell you the predicted values. So over here, we can see for 0, for ham, 940 predictions were correct, and 152 for spam were correct, and only 23 predictions were wrong. And we can check our accuracy. And we see we got an accuracy of 97.93, which is a very good accuracy. So we created our model for spam classification. This was an entire machine learning problem statement. So if you guys have any further doubts, I can take them up right now. Also, the code for this will be provided to you. We'll share our GitHub link for DSC USICT. So since there are no doubts, you guys can reach us on our social media handles, which is provided in the chat box. You can contact us there for any further doubts. We have another session tomorrow by Anurag Agarwal. So please join in tomorrow. Thank you so much for today's session. And I hope you guys learned from this ML week.